The Hamas terror attack marking the deadliest single-day murder Jews since the Holocaust, and Jews across the world now seeing a horrifying surge of anti-Semitism. In Germany, one Berlin official saying, quote, "I would not advise anybody to make their Jewish faith visible. Those who wear the kippah already faced the prospect of being spat on or insulted in quieter times. Isn't it sick that such things have become normal in Germany?" Joining us now, host of Piers Morgan Uncensored on Fox Nation. Good morning to you, Piers.
Good morning, Ainsley. Even as you read that, I can't quite believe what you're reading.
I know.
It's
a
really
sad state, right?
I mean, just the idea that Jewish people in Germany now being warned not to show their Jewish faith because they may be spat at, insulted, they might be attacked. I mean, the scale of some of these protests, we've seen protests in Australia with people chanting "Gas the Jews" within hours of this atrocity. We've seen massive protests in my country, the UK, right through London, right near where I live. Huge amounts of people out there not protesting about the disgusting massacre of 1,300 people in Israel, not protesting about babies being shot in their cribs or grandmothers being kidnapped or 260 people at a music festival being gunned down. No, they're protesting about the Palestinians and their plight. And there are very real concerns, of course there are, about the plight of Palestinians historically. But you think this is the right moment? In the immediate aftermath of what happened on October the 7th, that is the moment you go out with your, in some cases, pro-Hamas flags, saluting and celebrating what these people did? You know, we had in the protests in London yesterday, there were two young women who had paraglider badges on their backs. Think about that. Paraglider badges celebrating the fact that people had gone on paragliders to go to a music festival to massacre innocent young people. It is, honestly, it defies comprehension.
It shows you the hatred, the evil in all of this. But in order to go to one of these protests and support what happened to innocent individuals, human beings, it just shows you how much they hate the Jews. And it is so sad to watch these images and know that they're hostages that are being abused as we speak, that are still alive. And parents don't have their children because they're being held captive in Hamas. And Lord knows what's happening to these individuals. Then Lawrence Jones goes out to a protest here at Hunter College, interviews two women. Both of them said, that didn't happen. None of this happened. They denied it all, Piers.
Yeah, constant claims of disinformation about things which have obviously happened. You know, there are just scores of people, and this is, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe millions, who are all over social media denying what we're seeing with our own eyes, denying that there was even a massacre, or if there was, then it was entirely justified, that somehow what Hamas did was justifiable. How can it be justifiable? These people are terrorists. I mean, in my country, again, in the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, they won't even call Hamas terrorists. They've come up with some load of garbage about some, you know, long historic rules they have about how they call these people. It's complete nonsense. They've called Al-Qaeda terrorists. They've called other terror groups terrorists, but they won't do it with Hamas. If you can't call what happened on October the 7th an act of terrorism, a multiple barbaric acts of terrorism, then there is something wrong with you. And the fact that major broadcasters like the BBC are going along with this, somehow acting as some kind of appeaser to Hamas, lest they upset their feelings, I just find unconscionable. So if I was a Jewish person, I'm not, I'm an Irish Catholic, but I'm looking at my Jewish friends here in America, in Australia, other countries, living in real, tangible fear. And they're doing it for a good reason, because there is a mounting tide of anti-Semitism. Right at the moment, Jewish people suffered their worst attack and the worst death toll since the Holocaust. It is an extraordinary, unparalleled situation, and my deepest sympathies go to the Jewish people who are having to endure this mentality.
Absolutely, and that's why so many Christians support them, because we know what the Bible says, the chosen people. Jesus was Jewish, and that land was given to Abraham. At the beginning, you know, we read about that in the Bible, and one day the Bible says that land will go back to his people. So thank you so much for being on with us, Piers. In fact, we were looking at Twitter just a minute ago, and someone posted a picture picture of Trey Yink saying he's not reporting in Israel. He's just in his backyard. This is all fake news. It's ridiculous.
And yet this guy, Trey, I was going to say actually before we started, watching his report again, I don't think there is a single reporter in the world doing better work than he is right now. Or more courageous. And Fox knows better than anybody how dangerous this can be for correspondents in the field.
Absolutely.
After what happened to Ben Hall. So good on you, Trey. And the idea that people are trying to pretend you're not there, not doing it, is, again, completely disgusting.
Piers, we got to go. Thank you so much for being on. Great talking to you this morning.
Thank you.